Today we're talking about menstrual products, specifically tampons, cups, and discs. I'm going to be sharing with you my experience having used all three products. I'm going to be telling you how they work, the difference between them, which one I am currently loving, which one I will no longer be using. So whether you're hearing about these products for the first time, because I actually heard about these two about 2 years ago for the first time, or maybe you've heard about them and you've been thinking about trying them, hopefully this video provides you with some insight. Let's get straight into it. So first, let's talk about the one similarity that all three products have in common, and that is they all work through insertion into the vagina to collect period blood. So all three have to be inserted, but that's about where the similarity ends. Now the tampon works by being absorbent, meaning once you insert into the vagina, it absorbs the blood. However, cups and discs work by collecting blood. So they don't absorb, they collect. It's like the blood drips into them. They're also different in the materials that they are made of. Tampons are made of cotton, rayon, or a combination of both, meaning that they have fibers, while cups and discs are made of soft, flexible silicone or natural rubber. The difference in material and the way that they work could be one of the reasons why tampons have been linked to toxic shock syndrome. Meanwhile, cups and discs haven't been linked to them as much. Now, toxic shock syndrome is a rare but life-threatening condition, and because tampons are made of fiber and sometimes the fiber can be left behind, could be one of the reasons why this happens. Another reason is because tampons work by absorbing, and so if you're using tampons while you have light flow, the vagina is dry on those days, and these tampons are absorbent, so the vagina can be even more dry, and so that can cause complications. Again, TSS is a very rare condition, so chances of anyone getting them are extremely low, but I had to point out these differences between them. While I was doing the research for this video, I actually found out that menstrual cups were developed around the same time that tampons were developed, and this was in the 1930s. However, I didn't even hear about menstrual cups until about 2 years ago, and a lot of people haven't heard about menstrual cups. I think one of the reasons is just because poor marketing. Like, we see tampons being advertised all the time, but it wasn't until recently we started to see cups being advertised. I found out about menstrual cups like 2 years ago from a random Instagram ad that showed up on my timeline. I had no idea that they've been in existence for decades. Anyway, that was a fun fact. I thought you might want to know that. So let's get back to the differences between these products. Let's talk about capacity. Menstrual cups and discs can hold more than 3 times the amount of blood that tampons can hold. Now, how often you will need to empty out your cups and discs will depend on the size of cup and disc you're using and your flow at the time. Discs have the highest capacity of the three, next cups, and last tampons. When it comes to duration, you're only supposed to wear your tampons for 3 to 4 hours at the most before you change them out. But when it comes to cups and discs, you can wear them for up to 12 hours. Now, for girls like me who don't have a heavy flow, that is good news, because I can just insert it once in the morning and not even have to bother about it until 8 hours later, sometimes 12 hours later. So you can wear them for a longer period of time. Cups and discs are cost effective. And let me tell you, I think this is the reason why I actually decided to use them. Because when I saw that this is one thing I can reuse like every month instead of having to buy tampons all the time, I was like, sign me up, right? I'm a girl who doesn't like to spend money unnecessarily. So you buy this one product, they can last anywhere between 6 months to 10 years, but you are advised to change them every 1 to 2 years. Now, I have been using my cup. I've had my cup for about 2 years now. I started to use my disc in December, and they're so intact. You do want to check for holes and tears and things like that, and then replace them when you see any signs of wear and tear, but very cost effective. Cups and discs are also environmentally friendly because they are reusable and they don't accumulate in landfills, unlike pads and tampons. So that is just another reason to consider using them. I also love how convenient they are. Again, if you're a person who has a light flow, even a heavy flow, and we'll get into that later, you just insert your cup or your disc, you go about your day. You don't have to worry about carrying extra tampons or pads in your bag. So that convenience was very welcome attraction. So now that we've talked about the differences between the three and why I am leaning more towards cups and discs, let me tell you why I even decided to go the tampon route in the first place. So like most people, I started using pads, and by the time I got to university, I started to notice that my skin didn't do very well with pads. I don't know, there's something about the contact, I don't know if it was the blood, my skin just didn't like it. I started to react to pads, which was why I then switched to tampons, only using pads at night when I would go to bed. And I'd used tampons for the longest time and I was very fine with them until, like I said, 2 years ago when I came across a random Instagram ad and I saw cups, and it was just something I didn't know existed, and I went and bought it and tried it and I absolutely loved it. Now let's talk about cups and discs. Before making this video, I took a poll on my Instagram stories asking people if they had used tampons, cups, discs, or none, asking them to pick one option. I didn't think very many people would have tried discs, and that was to be expected. I also didn't think many people would have tried cups, so no one chose discs. Very few people chose that they had tried cups. The thing that really surprised me was that most people had not tried tampons. I thought most people would be on tampons, would be using tampons, but apparently most people are using pads, and I found that very surprising. I first tried a cup about 2 years ago, and it's actually quite easy to use. You just need to fold it, and there are many ways you can fold it, and whichever brand you buy, you'll find like in your manual, you can fold it like this, you can do like a little shape. There's just so many ways to fold this. You insert it into the vagina, and once it's inserted, it's going to pop open, and it's going to sit below the cervix, and it is going to form a seal, suction, vacuum, and so it stays there because of that suction. And so once it's under the cervix, it collects the blood. This little stem here, you can cut it to make it short if it's poking out. So I cut mine because it was poking me, so I made it shorter. But yes, so it seals, it stays there, and when you're ready to remove it or empty it, you just need to put your finger in. You don't need to dig in too deep at all. You just kind of bend, and that breaks the suction of the seal, and you pull it out and it comes straight out just like this. And so the blood stays intact. You empty, you clean it, very easy to clean. You use mild soap, hand wash that is mild, and then you can again insert back and repeat. So for someone who maybe has only used a tampon or hasn't tried a tampon before but wants to go from a pad to cups, this is easier to start using than a disc. It also is easy to empty because, like I just explained, you break the seal, you pull it out, the blood stays intact, it is not messy at all. You discard the blood, you wash it, and you reinsert. When I first tried the cup, I absolutely loved it. I could go hours, I didn't have to change it. It felt like there was nothing there, everything was going fantastic. But then the more that I used the disc, after months and months of trying, I started to realize that it wasn't staying under my cervix. It was sliding out. It was weird. I don't know why, but it would slide out every now and then, especially during exercise. And if I was doing any kind of impact exercise, so even if I was walking on like a treadmill, I was doing a light jog, that kind of impact, jumping up and down, just used to make it slide out. So it started to become a problem. I don't know if it's that I didn't get the right size for me, but I did try a number of them because I had like about 3 of them. So I tried 3 with different sizes, but all of them had the same issue. Again, I don't know if it was me. If you've tried it before, let me know if you had the same experience. That's why when I heard about the disc, I was more than happy to try it because I was tired of that sliding down thing that was going on with the cups. So these are discs, and I have 2 types. This one has a handle, and this one does not, and that's very important. Now they work a little differently. It tucks behind the cervix, and then you tuck the other end up behind your pubic bone, and that secures it in place. Now, unlike the cup, it doesn't work by creating a seal, but it takes up the space underneath the cervix and collects the blood. This, if you haven't used a tampon before or you're thinking about trying one of these, I would say don't start with a disc, start with a cup. Because this goes further in, first of all, it's going to be messy when you're bringing it out. I'm going to make you laugh a little. The first time I used it, I used one of these ones, no handle. And so it was easy to insert, to tuck behind my pubic bone, no problem. When it came time to remove this, you need to really dig your finger in there and you need to pull it out, right? It was hard. It was a frustrating experience. My finger was bloody. I had to tell myself to take a breather. And so if that happens to you, one of the things you actually need to do is sit on the toilet, bear down, and that means act like you're about to take a poop and you're pushing out through your butthole. That helps to release it, and it slides out from underneath your pubic bone, and then you can pull it out. But your finger is going to get bloody, so this is messy. So eventually I found this one, which has a handle. So when this goes in and tucks behind your pubic bone, the handle just kind of hangs out there. So when it's time to remove it, it's easy to pull out. You don't have to dig in too much. If you're going to try a disc, do not get one without a handle, especially if it's your first time. Get one that has a handle, and different brands have different types of handles. I like this one, so get one with like a ring or a handle that is easy to pull out. Well, you can pull the cup out while standing, because again, it comes straight down like this, so the blood stays in there. Not the same with the disc, because the disc tucks, right? When you're pulling it out, it kind of comes out this way, right, at an angle, and so it is very easy to spill. So you want to remove this while you are sitting on top of a toilet, or while you are in the bathtub or in the shower, so that any spillage goes into the drain or into the toilet and not on the floor. If you are someone that has a heavy flow, the disc might be the better choice for you, because like I explained, you can do something called an auto dump, and that's what I was explaining about bearing down on the toilet, where you sit, you come onto your toes, and you kind of push like you're pushing out of your butthole, like you want to take a poop. When you do that, it releases from behind your pubic bone, and the blood just spills into the toilet. And so you don't have to remove it. You can then just take your finger and tuck it back in. So if you have a heavy flow, this is going to be easier to empty and put back in place. Of course, your finger is going to get bloody every time you do that, so you just want to take a wipe into the bathroom with you, wipe first, and then go to the, when you come out, especially if you're using a public toilet, just wipe while you're in there before you come out, and then wash your hands. I'm not going to lie, these products probably worked really well for me because I work from home and I'm indoors most of the time, and so I don't really have to worry about using these while I'm using public toilets and all of that. If you, however, work a 9 to 5 or you're on the road a lot, then I'm not sure if this products will be the best for you. This one definitely, because of the auto dump like I described. And if you're not sure what that is, there's so many videos on YouTube where you can learn what the auto dump is. So just do a search. So this might work better for you if your flow is heavy, rather than this one. Now that I've told you everything that I know about cups, discs, and tampons, which one am I absolutely loving? Which one will I no longer be using? Which one will I sometimes be using? I will no longer be using the menstrual cups, because it just doesn't stay in place for me. I don't know why. My experience was great in the beginning, but after months of using, it just wasn't a great experience anymore. I'm absolutely loving the menstrual disc. I am going to continue to use this one, especially this one with the handle. It works perfectly well for me. I can wear it for hours and not even remember that it's in there. It is super convenient. It is cost effective. It is environmentally friendly. I absolutely love the disc. But I haven't completely given up on the tampon. I use the tampon when I am traveling and I have to take a long flight, because I don't want to be dealing with cups and discs and having to empty them out or remove them and clean them while I am flying. Those bathrooms on the plane are so tiny. I don't want to do all of that in there. I also don't want to have to worry about all of that in public bathrooms. So whenever I have to get on a long flight, I carry tampons with me and use them instead. Other than that, I am going to continue to use discs because I absolutely love them. I hope this video was helpful in giving you some insight. Maybe you want to try out the cups or the discs. I'm going to put links to the ones that I love in the description of this video so that you can try them out. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do so right now. What are you waiting for? And turn on notifications so that you do not miss the next video when I drop them. Thank you so much for your time. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.